Something I've realized above everything is, and what do I mean by everything? Well, I think in essence, all that is around us that can take away our attention is doing something you actually want to do regardless of the outcome. That is the essence of childhood bliss. Because when we had zero stress of the outcome, in terms of, you know what, let me retract that. Because children want to win oftentimes at whatever they're passionate about. Whether it's baseball, video games, card game with their friend, arguing with one of their classmates, hopscotch, whatever they're in the moment doing, that regardless of that outcome, they will still be happy, I believe is the essence of doing what you love as a career. You have a big goal, you want to reach it. The process is just as enjoyable, if not more enjoyable, than the actual mountaintop you achieve from it. And this is something that's been shouted down from that mountaintop, if you will. And what does that mean? The gurus I've been listening to talk about this, that you don't actually find the glory you thought was going to be there. You just ask what's more, what else can I do? And it's a never-ending cycle. So if you do something you hate, not only will you never reach that mountaintop, you will never be satisfied, even in the 99.9%, even in the 1% chance you will achieve that. I just contradicted myself. I literally said never, and then I said you could possibly do it. These are the things that just go on in my head, man. I don't know for certain what my beliefs are, but I'm starting to solidify the fact that doing something you hate is just not good for society as a whole. If you really break it down, people doing what they hate contributes to addiction, overweight, obesity, bad habits, bad relationships, stress, disease related to stress like heart failure, anxiety disorders, mental health. So while we all die one day and we will all go to dust, there's no sense in not trying to perfect the world as it is. Because what else is there to do? We're here potentially for a billion more years. Well, that's exciting. That's something to live for. That's something to get out of bed and decide life is worth living for, right? But if you do something solely for your own benefit and you also hate it, you're in for a hell of a time. And that's what I found out doing all these jobs I fucking hated. At the end, or just flat out, but I thought I had to grit through them in order to get some piece of gold at the end of it. And that didn't do well for my relationships, my mental health, not even my bank account. How crazy is that? I thought I could suck it up just like I did with all the other things I did in my life, like wrestling. I gutted through 2 seasons of that, and it was pretty hellacious. And I figured I could just apply that to anything in life. But the same thing occurred. I ended up burning out and hating myself at the end for I ended up hating the job, and I almost hated myself for even wasting time in the pursuit of this shiny object at the end of the rainbow I thought was going to grant me serenity because I accomplished something that's tough and would achieve a goal that would allow me to it would allow me to put a stepping stone in front of me as I walk across this giant stream. Because when you're born, it's almost like you're on land, but then you realize across the water you can't really see, but you're so infatuated with the concept of what there could be, you incessantly decide, yes, I should throw a stone in front of me. Man. Jordan Peterson has these amazing analogies, and I don't try to mimic it, but I do try to communicate it in a way that he does. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's such an expansive scope of your mind. It's arguably infinite how advanced, whatever that means, you can get as a human. So even deep into your 70s, you're probably still going to be working on something. Maybe. That's at least what a lot of these millionaires talk about. They retire and then they get bored. Well, that's terrible. You do all of that crap just to end up wanting to go back to work. I feel like I'd be the exception. Maybe I'm just being arrogant, to where I would just do what I want to do all day, and I would end up, well, there you go, I just answered my own question. I would end up working, but doing something more meaningful in my life. And the true freedom you get in life is apparently from just chasing that from the jump. Like Steve Jobs. I think, at least, I hope these billionaires did something they loved and it turned into riches, and they didn't just get lucky doing something they knew was going to make them a ton of money, because otherwise all this advice I've been listening to is arguably fake. Anyway, that's all I got for today.